Hey, thank you so much for tuning in. I am here with Pastor Kelly Walter. Okay, Pastor Kelly, would you introduce yourself?
Okay, I'm Kelly Walter. I'm the founding pastor of Rockbrook Church
Uh-huh.
in the Kansas City area in the U.S.
hmm Hey, so today I'll be asking two particular area question on two particular areas. One is I want to know, or we want to know, his story about the planting a church, and then another one is what encouragement he has for young pastors. So, okay, when and how did you, where did you grow up, and then how ended up being a church planter?
Okay, well, I grew up in Iowa in a small rural town and was not a believer until I went to college. And in college, I had an art history professor who was a believer, and through attending his course and interacting with him, he led me to the Lord my first semester of college.
Oh wow! So you became Christ follower in college.
Yes, yes.
What age?
I was 18.
18.
18 at that
Oh
point.
wow. Okay.
And I got married the following year, and my wife and I moved to Tulsa, Oklahoma, lived there for 3 years, and then we moved to the Kansas City area for me to attend Bible college. And I attended Bible college for 4 years here in the Kansas City area. And my desire was to be able to teach. Preferably wanted to teach biblical languages in a Bible college setting. I wasn't really interested in being a pastor, and so I didn't pursue that at all. I really had my heart set on teaching.
Okay.
But nothing opened up for me in the teaching area. I pursued a couple of master's degrees and did work toward a PhD, and nothing in those years really developed for me to have a teaching opportunity. And eventually I had a former classmate who was a pastor who asked me if I would be interested in coming on staff and working at a church with him. And so I was interested in doing something in a vocational ministry area. I had been working in business, and so I decided, well, I'll give the pastorate a try, and was pastor of a very traditional American church for 5 years. And at the end of that 5-year period was very frustrated with the pastorate, was not enjoying myself, was not seeing much fruit, not a lot of growth in the lives of the people, and frankly was about ready to give up on the pastorate and just go back into business. And it was at that time that I attended a purpose-driven church conference taught by Rick Warren at Saddleback Church in California. And in that conference, Rick laid out what God's plan is for the church, and I caught a vision. I thought, that's the kind of church I would like to pastor.
When was it?
This was in 1993.
1993, and you went there?
Yes.
And then, oh wow.
Went to the conference and came back and attempted to teach that conference material to the church where I was the associate pastor. But they were more interested in sticking with the traditional model that they had been doing. So I made the decision that, well, if I can't transition this church, then I would be willing to plant a church. And so through a kind of a circuitous path, I wound up back in the Kansas City area, and I took 14 people out to the Purpose-Driven Church Conference.
To California?
To California.
Okay.
I wanted them to have kind of the same experience that I'd had as I had attended the conference. I wanted them to hear the purpose-driven model presented by Pastor Rick, and hopefully they would catch a vision for the kind of church that I was hoping to plant. And they did. All of them were really excited about the possibility. There was nothing like that kind of church model in our area. At that time, all the churches were following a very contemporary model, very traditional model. and very traditional worship with hymns and choirs and organs. And so we came back, and the next weekend held a service in the park. And
In the open air?
actually, we were under a little canopy kind of a thing, shelter
Okay.
house
Okay.
thing.
Uh,
And by word of mouth, the 14 of us invited 92 people to come
on the first service.
to that first service.
Oh, wow.
And so that was in May of '97. And so I spent that summer laying out every week in the church service what it meant to be a purpose-driven church, what God's purposes are for the church, the Great Commandment, the Great Commission, and just casting a vision for the kind of church that we wanted to be. And that fall, I was now down to 62 people, but we found a place to meet inside regularly every week. And we started holding services. And then as the school year picked up and the summer activities settled down, we started to see some real growth. And by Christmas, we had over 125 people who were coming. And then by Easter, we actually had over 200 people who were coming to the service. And so we continued with the model, eventually bought some property, built a building, and grew the church to 1,250. And we were actually doing 5 services a weekend. We would do 2 services on Saturday night and 3 services on Sunday morning. And I often tell people that I don't know how to grow a church to 1,250, but I know how to grow a church to 250 5 times. And so we just offered multiple services and at different times over the weekend, and grew the church that way.
Oh, wow. When did you hold the first service here in the canopy, under the canopy?
That was would have been on, I believe it was May 27th in 1997.
1997.
So 26 years ago is when we held the first service.
And then we walked to your church building today.
Yeah.
So this is after 23 years old, no, or
26.
26 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's been a fascinating journey. As a pastor, I've really enjoyed it. And I've loved the people. I love helping them discover God's plan, God's purpose for them, helping them get connected to a church body, get in a small group, start growing in their faith, find a place to minister, and then to reach out to our community and to the lost.
Okay. And it is located in this, what part of the Kansas City?
It's actually located in a suburb called Belton, Missouri.
Oh, Belton, Missouri. Oh, this is Missouri.
This is Missouri, yeah.
Oh,
it's
okay.
Kansas City, but it's in Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah, that confuses everybody.
Right. Okay. Wow. Yeah. Actually, I met you at Purpose Driven Conference in California.
Yes, we
So
did.
how often did you go back to the same conference over and over?
I went to the same conference every time they offered it from 1993 until they stopped offering it. I mean, I probably went to 30 different conferences.
So you don't get tired?
No. In fact, every time I went through the material, I was at a different place in the process of planting and growing a church.
Right.
I would bring new people with me each time from my
that
congregation.
time you had a good number of people with you.
Yes, yeah, I would take anywhere from 21 to 28 people to the conference every year.
And also you traveled to India for...
Yes, in 2005, I started doing international training for Purpose Driven. And I first started in the Philippines, made a number of trips to the Philippines and trained pastors there. And then in 2008, I had an invitation to come to India and went to Delhi and Lucknow and Kanpur and did purpose-driven conferences. And then connected with a network of pastors there that I've been back. I've been to India 26, I've lost track, it's 26 or 28 times
Wow.
over those years. And had a wonderful time training pastors there. And then I've started going to Nepal as well.
Yeah.
I've made about 8 trips to Nepal and connected with pastors and church planters there. So I have a real heart for India and Nepal. Love the people. And,
Bless your heart.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a joy. And,
Thank you, Pastor Kelly. And there are young pastors. They are coming to the church ministry or pastoral ministry. And you already told that you didn't want to be a pastor from the beginning.
Yeah.
But there are people that are coming to be a pastor. How would you like to encourage them?
I think for me the crucial point for me was coming to a clear understanding of what God expects of the church, what God's design and desire is for the church. And once I'd caught that clear vision, that clear instruction, and for me it came from the great commandment to love God with all your heart, love your neighbor as you love yourself, and then also from the Great Commission, to go make disciples, baptize them, teach them, and coming to a clear understanding of those 5 purposes: the idea of worship, loving God with all your heart, the idea of bringing people into the church through baptism, the purpose of fellowship as a church body, helping people to grow to maturity through discipleship, helping them find a place of service in the church through ministry, and then equipping them, sending them out into the community and really into the world to share the gospel. Once I got a clear understanding of that vision and even the process of what Jesus wanted us to do, that's when the spark really caught for me. Before that, I was just trying to figure it out on my own and kind of floundering around and didn't have a clear understanding of even my own call and my own task and responsibilities as a pastor. So I think the more you can do that, the more you can clarify what it is that God wants you to do as a pastor from the Word. The more power it releases in your life and in your ministry. And then it's a matter of staying the course.
Right.
I think that ministry can be hard.
Right.
It can be messy and challenging, but God offers great things for those who persevere and endure and are steadfast and stand firm, and so I think you clarify the call, and then you make a commitment to the call, and then you just continue in it.
So endure through it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Pastor Kelly, for your time. Well, before I stop the video, would you like to say a final word or something?
I just have a real heart for pastors. I have a real heart for young pastors and church planters. And I just would encourage you that you're doing a great thing. I personally think you're doing the greatest thing. It is God's plan for our time and for our age to plant churches and to grow His church.
Right.
And He promises to be with you every step of the way. So,
yeah. So thank you for watching, and please hang on there. It is challenging, but it is rewarding too. May God bless you. I want to say bye to them.
all right.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.